Atta baby, Anna sighed. Shabbat shalom, I sighed back. We should have done that years ago. I think we could use some time spent skin on skin, Anna whispered. Take off your clothes. I did. When she took off hers, I was a goner. The sight was glorious and made the three of us emotional. Anna the most. She wept, her face pressed into my chest. It's so beautiful, she kept sobbing. God, I love this country. M-Dash's Home Depot co-workers who could get the time off showed up at my place with a lot of cheap American flags purchased with their employee discounts. When Anna came charging down from Vista Point, she was clapping her hands. Atta baby, she called out, passing me. Good first effort. I spun around to follow her. My thighs are on fire. They are rebelling, she called back over her shoulder. In time, they will submit. Anna reorganized my kitchen when I was in the shower. Making that up on the spur of the moment. Atta baby, she told me. I went home and did put on the cross trainers, then jogged around the neighborhood. Atta baby, she said. A few minutes later, Anna lapped me, spanking my buttocks as she passed. Atta baby. Are we an item? I asked. What do you think? She asked back. Do you think of me as your boyfriend? Do you think of me as your girlfriend? Is either one of us going to make a declarative statement? How should I know? I sat down and took a sip of coffee that was too strong. Can I have some milk for this? I asked. Do you think that gunk is good for you? She handed me a small bottle of non-preservative almond milk. The commie machine made different sounds over different parts of my body. Atta baby, Anna said. We're getting to it now. But with a strong sail, a firm wheel, a true compass, and a reliable clock, our ship will journey south, bound for the Antarctic Circle, B-15K, and adventure galore. Bet had a vision, pop, of herself and the kids in the kitchen for a busy breakfast. When her husband, Bob Monk, had come home from work one day, pop! Bet saw a full-color snapshot of him holding hands with Lorraine Connor Smythe in the restaurant attached to the Mission Bell Marriott Hotel. Bet knew her marriage with Bob had gone from just fine to over. Pop. If Bet were to count all the times she had such visions from when she was a little girl, and how those visions came to pass, she could have regaled a dinner party for a full evening with examples. Guys who took one look at her and thought, I wonder if she is doing anything tonight. Pop. The vision. Paul is keeping an eye out his window. I envy a man in flip-flops on a day like today. Pop. Bet saw Paul on campus, then lingering too long on the Daily Mail website, when she heard cluck, 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 cluck. A woodpecker was doing the woodpecker thing somewhere. Cluck, 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 cluck. She scanned the branches of the trees for a sign of the bird, but found none. Cluck, 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 cluck. Persistent fives, Bet said, counting the clocks. She looked at the exterior of the house, happy she didn't see the bird damaging the siding by digging for insects. Then came again, cluck, 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 cluck. The sound was coming from over the fence, from Paul Lagarris's backyard. There were no signs of Mr. Peckerhead up in them, but the cluck, 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 cluck sounds kept coming, which made Bet curious. She wanted to see how big this woody bird was, so she moved her chair to the fence and stood on it, hoping to see the bird in action. Cluck, 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 cluck. Paul Lagarris kept his backyard neat and organized. Cluck, 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 cluck. 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 Bing, bing, ding, Ding, ding. But it came out K. That's when he discovered K, N. Why? Traveling to the moon was way less complicated this year than it was back in 1969, as the four of us proved, not that anyone gives a whoop. You see, over cold beers in my backyard, with the crescent moon a delicate prince's fingernail low in the west, I told Steve Wong that if he threw, say, a hammer with enough muscle, said tool would make a 500,000-mile figure-8 sail around that very moon and return to Earth like a boomerang. And wasn't that fascinating? Steve Wong works at Home Depot, so has access to many hammers. He offered to chuck a few. His co-worker, M-, who'd shortened his given name to rap star length, wondered how one would catch a red-hot hammer falling at 1,000 miles an hour. Anna, who runs her own graphic design biz, said that there'd be nothing to catch, as the hammer would burn up like a meteor. And she was right. Plus, she didn't buy the simplicity of my cosmic throw, wait, return. She is ever doubtful of my space program bona fides. She says I'm always Apollo missions this and Lunokhod moon landing that, and have begun to falsify details in order to sound like an expert. And she is right about that, too. Anna is as thin and smart as a whip, and driven like no one else I have ever dated, for 3 exhausting weeks. Astronauts in the Apollo era had spent thousands of hours piloting jet planes and earning engineering degrees. They had to practice escaping from launch pad disasters by sliding down long cables to the safety of thickly padded bunkers. They had to know how slide rules worked. We did none of that, though we did test fly our booster on the 4th of July out of Steve Wong's huge driveway in Oxnard, hoping that, with all the fireworks, our unmanned first stage would blow through the night sky unnoticed. Mission accomplished. Footnote: a check of transcript shows I got a B- in rhetoric at WP. My mistake.